Want to experience greater prosperity in your life? How about greater connection, love, and support with people? I'm Laura Leigh Humphreys, and in this episode of Faces of Freedom TV, I'll be sharing with you some perspectives and insights on how you can think about and approach your interactions with other people so that you can create that greater love, support, and connection with them, as well as create and experience greater prosperity and creating a life that you love. So stick around. Now, this video is part of the series of self-care videos that I've done that's based upon the body-based template that I've created called the 7 Source Channels of Nourishment. Now, the last video that I did was talking about the second channel or gate of nourishment, which is all about creating loving, supportive relationships. And there's so much to talk about in this topic that I couldn't do it all in one video, so I broke it up into 2. The previous video talked all about your relationship with you. This video, we're going to talk about your relationship and interaction with other people. So let's review briefly again what the 7 source channels of nourishment are, what this template is. Nourishment is all about the activities and things that you intentionally do to bring greater life force energy, greater nourishment, greater light into your body, into all areas of your life so that you can thrive and feel successful. The second source channel of nourishment, which has to do with loving and supportive relationships, correlates into your body with your pelvic bowl. In the endocrine system, then we're talking about the glands of the gonads, the testes, the ovaries. And in the energy system of your body, then this is the second chakra area, which is all about relationships, creativity, connection, and even money flow. So what would money have to do with relationships? Well, stick around and you'll find out. So as I mentioned, the last video is all about your relationship with you. This is the base, the foundation. The way that you treat you is a template and a model for how you treat everyone else. So we've got to look at that first, and then we extend out into how you treat and interact with other people. And to do that successfully, then that's all about the skills of relationships, which is learning the skills of influence, of communication, and contribution. It's also about serving and offering your gifts, your contributions to other people, to the world, to make the world a better place when you leave it, than how you found it when you entered this life, or when you entered any type of experience or relationship with people. So that calls into question, what are you doing with your energy? How are you managing it? How do you want people to see you? How do you want them to experience you? When they walk away from you, what do you want them to walk away with? A memory of how you've helped them and uplifted them and contributed something good and positive to their life? Or are they going to walk away from you thinking, oh wow, that person just sucked me dry, they're horrible, full of negativity, full of drama, I don't want anything to do with them. So really check your energy and how you're managing it. There's a lot of different tools and resources out there to support you in becoming aware of that. The body-based template that I'm offering you here in this video is just one of many. So I encourage you to download it and do the exercises, the self-assessment in this template, and see what you're doing with how you're managing your energy. Are there things that you can improve on? Are you spending too much time in the lower state of energy of being heavy and negative and full of drama and pessimism and doom and gloom that people don't want to have anything to do with you? Or do you spend a lot of time uplifting and caring for them and look for ways in which you can improve that? So it's all about what you're contributing to the world. Not only does this follow with the energy that you're putting out into the world, it's all about also your creativity, your gifts. What are things that you could offer the world in a tangible way beyond just energy that again would leave the world in a better place, that serves and uplifts people, that gives them a reason to come back to you, to see you as a point of influence and a positive uplifting force in their life? Because the more you can share that with other people, the more they're going to reciprocate and return the same to you. Hence, you can create greater connection, love, and support. On the flip side too, if you're going to screw people over in business or in any other type of relationship, that's what you're going to get. So we really want to look into, how are you dealing with your energy and your interactions? How are you developing the skills of communication, of connection, of contribution, of collaboration? And that goes into, how do you view you? How do you value you and your contributions, your gifts? Do you know what they are? Can you value them? Meaning, in today's world, in today's marketplace, could you place a dollar amount upon the contributions that you offer people, so that you can create a cycle of exchange, which then sets you up to receive prosperity, because you're offering something of value to others. They're giving something of value back to you in forms of the energy of money, which allows you to create and build a prosperous life, to care for yourself beyond just the physical requirements of life. Okay, so really look at, what do you have to offer people? Do you know what that is? One of the biggest clues would be to simply listen to your heart. Follow your passion, listen to your heart's desires, and find a way to express that, to honor and acknowledge that, to give value to that which also values you, values your gifts, which you then can share with other people. From there, then that opens up greater amounts of creativity, as well as learning about the age-old principles of natural laws of prosperity. Again, as I mentioned, you set up that cycle where you're giving people, contributing and offering your energy and your gifts and services to people in exchange for value. And the way that you do that opens up all kinds of doors of creativity in how are you going to package your gifts? How are you going to present your contribution? How are you going to reach people, communicate to people, create influence, and create an audience, create a following of people who come around to you, want to follow you, for example, on social media or online, because they value what that you have to offer. So not only is that all about communication and creating influence, it's also about learning skills of marketing, social media marketing, which I've talked a lot about before. And that's an expression of creativity. All of that is an expression of creativity, of how you package your gifts, how you share them with others. And from there, then we can go into communication, the nonverbal as well as the verbal, which I've mentioned before. It's like, what type of energy are you putting out into the world? How are you uplifting people? What are they walking away with? All of these little nuances of energy, of body language, of voice, of communication, of verbiage, everything that you do impacts your relationship with them, with other people. It also ties into, how are you caring about and honoring and valuing your relationship with your environment, with the earth, with the resources, with nature, where we draw everything that we have in life from the earth, all the raw materials and resources the earth gives us freely, so that we can then share and distribute them amongst ourselves to create life and prosperity and all the wonderful material things that we love. Are you valuing and honoring the earth and nature for providing you with all of this, all of that raw material and resources that we need to sustain our physical existence and to nourish us in this way? So think about that. It's like, how are you nourishing and valuing all of your relationships? This ties in again then to the next step, talking about the flow of money. One thing that I learned from one of my teachers that I've always enjoyed listening to, a man named Don Tolman, and he studied a lot of the principles and things of how people lived in cultures back in the day, of how they took care of themselves, how they thrived, how they nourished themselves. And he came up, or he discovered the terms of moneta, the beginnings of money. So the Latin word of money comes from moneta, which means the trust of relationship. Now this ties directly in with what I was just talking about, and all of the little nuances of how you're caring about yourself, how are you communicating with other people, how you're interacting with them, what kind of energy are you giving to them, what kind of gifts and contributions and services are you offering them? Do you value that? Do you value yourself? All of that builds trust of relationship. The more you build that, the more you have a solid relationship of people who know, love, and value you and the gifts that you're contributing to their lives, to better their lives, that builds greater and greater trust. The more people trust you, the more willing they are to purchase things from you and give you money. Hence, you've got that cycle of prosperity and flow that I talked about. And on the flip side, if you're not going to honor those relationships, then you destroy the trust. And as we can see in so many different facets of our civilization and society today, the trust of relationship has been severely, severely abused and broken between people and governments, people and corporations, people with other people, other business, small businesses, so that people don't trust each other. It's too often that we hear have this reproach of the used car salesman's idea or persona of somebody who's just trying to shove something down your throat that you don't need just to make a buck at your expense, regardless of what you actually need, without seeing you as an individual. So we see that in so many different examples. I could go on and on about that, which I don't need to here. But it's very obvious how the trust of relationship has been broken between people and businesses and corporations and governments and all different groups. So that there's now division, there's separation, there's fear, there's argument, there's conflict, there's strife. All of that destroys relationship, destroys connection, destroys life, and it's all takes away from nourishing you. It's destroying everything rather than building up and honoring and creating and expanding. So look at that in your life. Are there areas in relationships where you have destroyed the trust, where you're now in a destructive cycle of creating less life, creating destruction, death, disease? And instead, if there's something that you can do to turn that around, to restore and rebuild those relationships, which can happen, trust can be rebuilt. It does take time. It does take effort and commitment. Not everyone is going to agree with that in wanting to rebuild a relationship with you. However, it is a possibility. And for those who are willing to do what it takes to rebuild trust, the relationship can be stronger, having gone through all those trials and tests and tribulations. So in doing that, on the other side, then that trust, that moneta, that prosperity, or that possibility for prosperity can be enhanced because the relationship has been tested and tried over time. It's the same with long-term relationships in spousal or married family relationships. Over time, the relationships can either be destroyed or be rebuilt and strengthened to where the bond is very solid and it's a very supportive, loving, nourishing thing for you. And over time, in order to build that, then there are issues that come up. There are struggles. There are trying conversations to have. And the more you're willing to go through that, the stronger the bond, the stronger the trust. If not, then the trust deteriorates and you break the relationship. So consider all of that in how you're doing your life, in what you're contributing to others, and how you are even discovering what your own gifts are, what your own passions and contributions that you would like to offer other people. You know, one of the things that I struggled with a lot in my life was discovering me, finding out what I wanted, what I had to contribute. Because oftentimes it's not that it wasn't that I was creating a negative imprint on people, but I wasn't doing a positive thing where people wanted to be around me either. It was pretty much neutral, void. There was kind of like nothing there that I sensed that people were getting from me. And so why would they want to hang out with me? And so that was again a reflection of how I felt about me, not knowing who I was, not feeling comfortable with me, and not recognizing my value, my worth of what I had to offer people. And so I've had to do a lot of work over the years to really develop and cultivate that, my relationship with me, so that I knew I had something of value of many facets that I could share with you, with other people. And so now, having done that and still cultivating that, it's an ongoing thing. We're always expanding and growing. But I've found enough things that I can share with you here that which I can build upon over time to create a greater relationship with you, a greater trust with you, and hence creating that community, that connection, the prosperity with you. Okay? So look at that, of all of that stuff that I've shared. How can you apply this to your life? In what way can you use this source channel of nourishment to enhance your relationships, to enhance your prosperity, to enhance your skills of connection, of communication, of influence? You know, with that, I encourage you again to download the template, the resource guide that I have for you, that is the 7 source channels of nourishment. Do the assessment, come up with some goals and intentions that you can apply in your life with time frames so that you can make progress in this area for the little details of what you feel you're lacking or would like to improve upon with this gate. And as you do that, then just track and observe how that affects your physical health, how that shifts and changes the energy that is moving through your body in the area of your pelvic bowl, in your second chakra area and your gonads. How does that affect the health or the lack thereof of that part of your body and those tissues and organs? All of that is so very interconnected. You know, you may have experienced this yourself, where people have had horrendous, very difficult, trying, painful divorces or separations of relationships. Soon after, their health starts to fall apart. There's problems. That's a reflection of this gate, of this area of nourishment, of how the nourishment, the energy, the life force turned sour and went down into a de-evolving, spiraling downward destructive cycle, as opposed to an expansive upward cycle of nourishment, of support and love and connection. So look at all of that, download the resource guide, do the exercise, and I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the areas that you can do, some of the steps that you can take in this, with this gate, with this source channel, to improve it, to bring yourself greater nourishment, greater life force energy into this area of your life of relationship, communication, creativity, and prosperity. So did you find value in this video? What were some of the things that you liked the best? If you found value in that, then I encourage you to share this video, like and subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified of when I do more videos. I'm always doing videos and loading them here on my channel. And you can also find me on my website, lauraleehumphreys.com. You can find me at other social media places like on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn under my name, Laura Lee Humphreys. So find me there, subscribe to this channel, and follow me, connect with me, and let me know how I can share more of my contributions and gifts with you to bring you greater nourishment and enjoyment in life, life force energy into your life. And until next time, enjoy your communications and relationships, and take care.